is in Croydon. Hi, Rahul. What do you think?
Hiya. I've got three very quick points. I think, number one, we should be giving our whatever excess vaccines we have to India. The majority of the reason is because India did gift more than 7 million vaccines to developing countries and the frontline workers there, including Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, when it did have the capacity. We also need to realise that India is the largest manufacturer of vaccines in the world, and one of the main vaccines we've been using here is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which India has been manufacturing the majority of under contract, which has found its way here and Europe and the West as a whole, which has helped us achieve what we have achieved here. So that needs to be borne in mind. Secondly, it's very important that we appreciate that a lockdown in India is not the same thing as a lockdown in the UK. The lockdown over here affects our economy in a major way, but over there, a lockdown kills people because they cannot survive because they are on the breadline. So to say that, in India didn't take care of locking down. A lockdown, they did try to make a lockdown, but people had to move in order to live. It is a country which has one of the largest population densities in the world. It has the second largest and fastest growing population in the world. So a lockdown is not the same thing. They're not comparable. In addition to that, we need to bear in mind that the Americans are not providing essential raw materials to India because of a trade embargo. Which is wholly unjustified, completely political, and a continuation of the America First policy, which is the same under Biden. So Biden's the same as Trump, he just makes less noise. I do find it is completely inappropriate for us to be saying, right, okay, well, why are we helping them? They've got a space program. When they have helped everybody else. On top of that, there is a massive Indian diaspora all over the West. Just to name a few, our Chancellor, our Home Secretary, and our Business Secretary are from an Indian background. Just an example of how many people are here with Indian families, and therefore, if we don't help the vaccine initiative over there, it will find its way back to the UK. India is suffering with a double mutant, but the double mutant is mainly the Kent variant, which has mutated again as a mixture of the Kent variant and another variant, which has caused this double mutation. So it is a worldwide thing. It does go back and forth, and it is our responsibility to help them when they helped everybody else. And Rahul,
I'm also just thinking, because we talked about this on our program last week in another context, but you'll remember that for some time the UK government justified having a military operation in Afghanistan because it said it will help keep us safe on our streets here in the UK. And I wonder whether you'd apply the same argument, particularly to people who quite justifiably have qualms about giving vaccines to India. To pick up on the point you just made, that because of the mutations, and we had a tweet on this just a moment ago, that isn't there a clinching argument in saying, look, if in the long term we want to keep the UK safe from COVID mutations, then it makes sense to help India now.
Absolutely. It's all, as everyone keeps saying, if the mutations come back, I mean, we've already got 50, at the last report, it was 50 cases of the Indian mutation that are already here. It is a worldwide thing. We do need to be responsible, and India as a whole, like I said about the diaspora, there's a lot of movement from there. So if we're not careful, it will cause another lockdown here. Which we really don't want. And I think we are very proud of our vaccination drive, and so should we. But at the same time, we have to appreciate that is in a significant part due to the Serum Institute of India and the massive amounts of vaccines under contract that they've been making for AstraZeneca.
All right, Rahul, very good to hear from you. The situation in India is heartbreaking, says Marion. I'm in my 40s.
11:42, back to your calls on India. Rahul is in Croydon. Hi, Rahul.
Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Hey. So I've got a few points, but they're all very, very important. So, number one, I think it's very important to realise that India has gifted, when it was in a position, it has gifted more than 7 million vaccines. So Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, and all developing countries for their frontline. I
think the figures for Bangladesh are amazing. 10.3 million doses, I think, is the number exported to Bangladesh.
Yes, exactly, and the majority were gifted. So I think they're way above the 7 million. I think that's a bit outdated. They've also produced more than 75 million under contract that have been provided mainly in the West for the EU, for the UK, predominantly AstraZeneca. When we look at our own vaccine success in this country, a big part of it is the vaccines that have come from India. That have been produced by the Serum Institute of India, which is the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world, for AstraZeneca, which is, we can't just say, we've been really good with our vaccination program and not give any credit to the country that's been instrumental in providing it. Mm-hmm. There's many people that I find it flippant, in fact, that people are so narrow-minded as to say that, they've got a space program. Well, yes, they've got a space program and they've invested in technology, and hence why the Serum Institute is because of that investment in technology that they have been able to make or develop the Serum Institute of India, which is the world's largest vaccine manufacturer. It's no good to say that, just because there's cows roaming around or India's a poor country, why have they got a space program? They've got a space program, so let's just chuck them in the deep end. It's ridiculous. I think it's also very, very important to realise we have a responsibility. If not moral, then if people are so nationalist about it, how about remembering history? How about remembering the fact that the British Empire ruled India, and I would say colonized India in a very negative way for more than 200 years, while Indians were dying in World War II and World War I. And do we have no moral obligation, if not reparations, any sort of moral or ethical
But can I ask you, Rahul, listen, I understand that argument, I do, but can I put that in a practical sense? So the callers earlier who were saying, I haven't been at work for 8 months, I've lost my job, I can't see my family, I can't go anywhere until I've received this vaccine. I just try arguing with somebody who lives here and now that they aren't going to be able to get their vaccination dose because of legacy issues, understandable legacy issues regarding Britain's colonialising past. Try making that argument real for them.
Absolutely, I've got a very good counter to that, and I think it's I think that argument is valid, but we have to understand it's not a comparable. It's not. Basically, lockdowns are not comparable in India as they are in the UK. When we are under lockdown, we are facing inconvenience. Our economy is taken a dip, and we are facing things like mental health problems, which I'm not saying are not significant. They are significant, but if you compare about what the effects of a lockdown in India are, people are on the breadline. If they don't move and they don't do the daily manual labour, they die because they don't have food to eat. So you cannot compare with one hand, we're under lockdown, and hang on,
you're shifting the argument here. You're saying that because there is absolute horrendous poverty in India, therefore we need to give up the vaccination dose. That to me that's a better argument than saying because of Britain's colonial past, we need to give up the vaccine dose.
No. There's many points. I'm just saying if there's any if there's a nationalistic feeling about let's protect ours first, then I'm saying maybe there's an ethical argument to that. But even let's take the ethical argument out of it, and let's just say on a practical sense, this is a global pandemic. India's double mutant variant is a mutation of the Kent variant, which is why it's called a double mutation, because it's a mutation of the Kent variant, which came from here. And India has one of the largest diasporas in the West of Indian people. Our Home Secretary, our Business Secretary, our Chancellor, all are from an Indian background, right? All from an Indian origin. We have a lot of people in this country. A quarter of the doctors in the NHS hail from an Indian background. If we do not help them, it eventually will come back here, and then you will get the same people moaning on about a lockdown again.
Well, listen, Rahul, I'm not sitting here saying we should not help India. I'm glad we are helping India. We need to do more. Give them the intellectual property rights. Give them more oxygen, more ventilators. At the moment, the Indian government has not asked for ready-to-use vaccine doses, which is lucky because the government here tonight says that we haven't got any surplus supply of vaccine doses. You make really good points, and you make them very well. Thank you very much indeed for your call.